Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today I want to talk about the big interview between Jim Cramer and Peter Rawlinson of Lucid Motors. Jim's been going back and forth for a few months now, saying how he loves SPACs, and then how he hates them because of the volatility, and then again how he loves them and he always has. Jim dropped a few big bombshells during this interview, such as how he thinks CCIV is very attractive at this price point of around $30, and how Apple might not be a big competitor, and how Lucid Motors could be the next Tesla and maybe even better than Tesla. So stay tuned and let's make some money. Now I want to dive straight in with the key information. Peter Rawlinson noted during this interview that their first production run of 500 vehicles is almost fully sold out for the Dream Edition, and they've also been taking a number of pre-orders for their Grand Touring Edition as well. Considering the Lucid Air Dream Edition retails for around $161,000, that's around $80 million right off the bat in pre-orders. Their investor presentation suggests that for the whole of next year, they'll be shipping around 20,000 vehicles, so around $2.2 billion worth. For 2020, Tesla had around a 20 times market cap to sales valuation. $2.2 billion times 20 is $44 billion. Considering CCIV owns around 16% of the total outstanding shares expected for Lucid Motors, with around 258 million shares for CCIV alone, 44 billion times 16% divided by 258 million shares gives a share price of around $30. So based purely off first year sales, CCIV could have a market cap of $44 billion and a share price of around $30. When you then factor in future growth, future revenues, future partnerships and future additional revenue streams, we can see that CCIV's share price should be much higher. Again, from the investor presentation, by 2023, Lucid Motors expects to be selling around 85,000 vehicles per year. The deck suggests that this is going to be around $5.5 billion worth of revenue. Multiplying that by 20 gives us a market cap of around $110 billion. Calculating this back gives us a share price of around $68. Therefore, we can see that even in the short term, CCIV has quite a lot of room to grow. And actually, I think they're going to reach 85,000 vehicles a year a lot sooner than 2023. If you're enjoying the video so far, be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking that red button down below. Also, be sure to check out the Patreon, linked in the description down below, to become part of the team and discuss stocks before they start blowing up, like BNGO, Sens, CCIV, and more. You also get access to my stock portfolio, which is updated daily, weekly live streams, one-to-one access, and more. But for now, let's get back to the video. The next big bit of information that Peter Rawlinson discussed during his interview is that their competition, I'm assuming Tesla, only raised a few $100 million from their IPO and then had to issue new capital many times over. Considering Lucid Motors is raising around $4.5 billion from the reverse merger with CCIV, Peter said that there's no need for them to issue new capital and therefore the current shareholders won't be diluted, which is great news. Diluting your shares effectively makes your overall shareholdings of Lucid Motors as a percentage of the total shares smaller and therefore less rare and less valuable. And that's why when companies announce that they're issuing new shares, the stock price tends to fall as investors get a bit worried. And therefore it's great that Peter Rawlinson doesn't have this intention for Lucid Motors. Peter also said that he welcomes Apple as a future competitor if they do release an Apple car. And he says that Apple joining the competition won't affect Lucid sales at all. And he makes a really good point of it. He says, look, Volkswagen aren't the only ICE manufacturer. There's Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Honda, Toyota, Ford, and so many more. Competition in the auto market is healthy. Jim then ends the interview by saying that he believes that Lucid Motors could be the next Tesla. And I actually think that that's very possible indeed. Again, if we look back at that investor presentation, by 2025 they expect to be generating around $14 billion worth of revenue. If we times that by our 20 times multiple, that's a market cap of $280 billion or a share price of $170. Wow. One of those other revenue streams that I spoke about earlier could be roadside assistance. Peter Rawlinson said in another interview that he wants Lucid Motors to have its own fleet of mobile engineers that go out and service, recover and repair Lucid vehicles. He said that he's already started acquiring vehicles for this fleet. Maybe the Lucid Motors customers will pay a monthly subscription for this roadside assistance to send engineers to your home to repair and recover your vehicles when necessary. He also said that the Lucid cars are going to be super connected and will be able to warn the Lucid engineers before the car even breaks down. This is something that Tesla doesn't have, and it'd be such a good addition to not only a luxury vehicle but a luxury service as well. Imagine it's 7 PM the night before a really important meeting at work and you suddenly get a knock on the door from a Lucid engineer who says, "Hi sir, I think your Lucid's about to break down tomorrow morning. Is it alright if I fix it now?" Like, how brilliant. If you want to pick up some shares in CCIV, then be sure to sign up to free trade using my link down in the description below to get a free share worth up to £200 when you invest a minimum of £1. Yep, that's right, you only have to invest £1 and you will get a free share worth up to £200. Something else that I think is super important to talk about is their future plans. Peter Rawlinson noted in a different interview that 6 well-known automakers have contacted him over the last month showing interest in the Lucid technology. Peter is therefore debating forming a partnership to bring to market a $25,000 mass market EV. If he partnered with someone like Volkswagen, they can provide and stump up that liquid cash necessary. They'd benefit from economies of scale and Peter can just swoop in with the technology. This would be another one of those key revenue streams that would generate even more value and more market cap for the company, further pushing up that share price of CCIV or Lucid Motors. I'm sure it'd be very beneficial for Peter Rawlinson and Lucid Motors to work with these huge automakers because it's always better to work with them than against them. They can also benefit from economies of scale and those large automakers can help Lucid grow further and give them even more media attention. Also, finally, patents for the Lucid Project Gravity have just been leaked, also showing around a 500-mile radius per charge. These patents were recently filed at the European Union IP office. So let's talk about it. It seems that the Lucid Project Gravity follows the same basic design principles as the Lucid Air, with the windscreen that extends all the way up to the roofline. But this one will have 8 full-sized seats, and therefore it would compete with the Tesla Model X or maybe the Mercedes GLS. Just an electric version. It also seems like Lucid Motors could be following in NIO's footsteps, as they're currently designing batteries that can be swapped out and a battery storage system. This sounds very much like NIO and their battery swapping stations, and will be a great alternative for Lucid Motors. You could either take your vehicle and recharge at an Electrify America charging station, or just swap out your current battery. Yet again, this could be another great revenue stream for Lucid Motors, selling second-hand batteries to customers so they can take an extra battery with them on a long journey, just like taking a spare can of fuel with you. All in all, I think Lucid Motors have a very promising future if they keep expanding and develop a fleet of vehicles just like Tesla, and also develop a number of different key revenue streams and diversify into other forms of tech. I think that their current stock price could multiply many times over and they could have a market cap in the region of multiple $100 billion. In terms of the stock price movements over the last week for CCIV, the stock hit a recent high of around $32 and then continued to fall the rest of the week in line with the wider tech market. The Nasdaq lost 3% on the day on Thursday and many stocks were down 5 to 10% on the day, and CCIV was no different. And as always guys, if you enjoyed this video then be sure to check out some of my others. Alternatively, subscribe to the channel and ding the notification bell, because that way you'll be alerted when I upload a new video. Cheers!